So in this game, little bit of context. My Olaf, who was mid lane and doing really well, is now top. My Gwen, who isn't doing very well, is now mid with no ult. Olaf no ult, Gwen no ult. And you can see that because I'm almost half HP here, the enemy Mordekaiser was running down like this. I don't actually know if he's running down like that into my bot side, but I just know this guy's running to grubs. So if you look at the minimap here, it's like, where is the Zac? Now this guy, whether he has based and got a Sunfire, whether he hasn't, I look at this and I think Mordekaiser is there first. I look at my mid laner who is basing, even if she might stay, she wants to base, right? That's what that is indicative of. She might not want to actually stay in lane here. And I look above the minimap at this and I kind of think to myself, especially that, I don't know if I can really contest grubs. And it goes from I don't know if I can really contest grubs to I know 100% I can't. So the amount of junglers here that would, after their wolf camp, move like this, there would be so many people who would do that. Now, why do you think that's bad? The red team here, sometimes as a jungler, you have to play on behalf of the blue team versus red team. So lots of the time it's 1v1 and we're playing against this guy and stuff. But sometimes you're going to have to play the team game, so to speak, where they're going to get an objective like, you know, Drake or Grubs or Baron or whatever. And you have to come up with something else. So we're not actually really playing jungle camps there. We're playing something bigger. Kills, a big objective, something like that, right? A whole quadrant. For sure, that can be something as well. So I know I said it, we're not playing jungle camps, but you can play a quadrant. So for example here, I know that I can't do grubs. So if I go to Gromp here and I'm playing my own jungle camps, well, the blue team, because that's who I'm representing here, is saying is, look, the red team is getting grubs no matter what. So the blue team is losing grubs. But what is the blue team getting? We're getting a Gromp. And it's like, no, that doesn't work out, right? That just sounds horrible. That's clearly a winning trade for red team. So I can never go to Gromp here. So even though you might hear a lot, you've got to sequence your camps, you've got to do your camps together, you've got, like, it's just all absolute rubbish. So because I can't do Gromp here, because of what we just said, right? If the red team is getting something substantial, like grubs, like a dragon, something like this, right? I can't really just do my own camps there. I have to accelerate my pathing. When the enemy team is active in terms of doing something like an objective or they're killing your champions, your pathing has to be accelerated. So my pathing here, let's just say that the grubs aren't going to spawn. Let's just say that that's not real. Let's just say that grubs have already been taken here and that's the minimap. My pathing here is probably just Gromp, as long as Mordekaiser doesn't come down and annoy me. Probably going to try to do Gromp here. And then if this crab spawns or if it does, now I'm probably thinking to myself, Zac probably has this no matter what. Remember, because my lanes aren't great. Yes, Olaf is doing well, but mid lane is really trash here. And I also don't have my ultimate. So with all of these conditions, I'm thinking, I can't actually really contest that crab. Remember, grubs are gone. So I can't really contest this crab after my Gromp. So probably what I'm going to do, if nothing is happening, remember, elsewhere. So if nothing is happening, we can just play jungle camp. So I'd do Gromp, and then I'd probably recall, and then run like this. Because if he does that crab, I can't really contest him. So again, if you're going to do crab, let me try to think of something else here. But because grubs are spawning right now, and I cannot contest them, my actions, my future has to be accelerated. So the move I would have made after doing this, right? If grubs weren't spawning, Gromp, and then I base, and then I run like this. This action here has to happen now on this minimap. I can't do Gromp. I can't base. I can't do this. Why? Why is that? Because I'm not going to have time. This Zac, by the time I do this and recall and run over here, he's easily going to finish grubs as a Sunfire Aegis Zac with his Mordekaiser potentially helping him, right? And he might always just come over here and cover what I'm doing. Might even ping his support to do that for him. I would certainly do it as well. Is this Shack on drag? He might be diving you. Watch out, something like this. So you have to do this during. You can't do it after they've gotten that objective or they've already killed your bot lane. You have to do it while they're doing it. Otherwise, it will feel like they're being in two places at the same time. The Zac is going to finish grubs if I do this, and he's going to run over to his bot side, or someone is, and they will protect it. And I'll be like, oh, we didn't actually get anything for them getting grubs, or a dragon, or a baron, or a top tower, whatever it is, right? So you have to accelerate your pathing there. It doesn't matter what HP you're on, really. It doesn't matter what your cooldowns are on. You have to do it because you're playing blue team versus red team. So let's listen to what I have to say here. There's no way, right? Look at the map for me. There's no way I can do grubs, right? Like, no fucking way. And also my Olaf, who is winning, is top. So I've got this mid, right? So I can never do anything that grubs, yeah? So again, the only thing I can do is gank bot. If Zac is here, like, I don't think that he, like, ever is here. So if Zac is here, that would really suck. But I don't think he ever would be here, right? Because look how Yasuo was positioning. Look where his Mordekaiser ran before, what we talked about, right? Mordekaiser ran off the top wave down into river. He's probably helping Zac do grubs. The Zac is probably pinging his laners as well to do that. And like I said, if you look at Yasuo, which is always kind of like a telltale sign of where the enemy jungler is. If you're not sure, you can always look at mid lane and where their mid laner is hovering. Is he hovering top? Is he hovering towards bot? Probably indicative of where their jungler is, yeah? Just like that, right? Like if you don't do that shit, bro, you're gonna be clamped. So when I say do that shit, I literally just mean what we're thinking about here. If you don't accelerate your pathing, your movements, you are not going to get anything here. This will not exist. The Thresh and Jinx will suddenly be aware that you might do something because, oh, Zac is now pinging. So if I was coaching the Zac, for instance, I would just be telling him, look, if Shaco can test you here and they should know I don't have ultimate, maybe I fought bot lane. I can't remember what happened before this, right? But they should definitely know I don't have ult. I'm not going to press my R to clear my camps and fog. So I definitely use my ult somewhere and they should know this. But he should be saying, look, the Shaco might be bot here. He's not going to contest me at grubs because he doesn't have R or anything. So he should be thinking, let's 3v2 bot. Let's invade the Zac's bot side. Let's do dragon or something. So the Zac should be like spam pinging. As soon as he hits that first grub, the Shaco might be bot side here. So the longer you give the enemy champions, the more time obviously they have to think about what you might do. But if you do it as soon as possible, it's harder to react to. It's not impossible for them to react to, but it's very, very difficult, right? And in lower elos, every elo below challenger and even higher challenger, this is going to work. Even if this was like, you know, me versus Canyon, I'm going to do this move. In fact, I would have to do this move even more so because of the level you're playing at. And you're not going to get like really any time to relax. You have to get the moves right. So hopefully this makes sense. Point I'm making is that their bot lane has gone from being alive all the way back here to now being dead. So it's 10:50 here in the game time. Let's forward it a little bit. 20 seconds later, and their Jinx is dead. That's the difference. So I've gone from wolves to killing their AD carry. I've gone from wolves to killing their support as well. And all of a sudden, the Kai'Sa gets a couple of waves. She gets tower plates. And yes, they got grubs, but I have evened out that situation. The blue team, right? That's who I'm representing here with these moves. Like, so many people there are just going to run to Gromp or can try to like contest grubs that they never get, and they'll be like, wow, like why can't I not do anything, man, in this game? You have to know if you can or can't do something. Like this person here, right, is gonna fucking hit this tower because she thinks she's like quicker, and the Thresh hasn't warded this shit, right? So we do this and we can run through. Box behind her like this, so she's got to run up. Oh, if that hit him, he could have died. See, look at that, mate. So basically what I'm saying there, and you might be like, let's just talk about the pathing quickly here out of base. The reason why I don't go to my Gromp is because, once again, I want to kill their bot lane. You can see that the Zac is still top getting that crab, I think he is, and my ult's coming up very soon. One more thing as well that's very important to know about lanes. Whenever a wave is crashed like this, hopefully I don't talk too much, but you guys can see how the wave is crashed here, right? So the wave is crashed and Jinx is now farming it. Where is that wave going to push? Where is the direction of that lane heading? Towards my tower, right? So this picture here, you should know as a jungler that if I skip it, so that's 10 seconds, that's 10 more seconds, you should know that in 20 seconds time or so, depends on like, you know, how much wave clear they have at that particular point in the game. But you need to know that eventually, whether it's in 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, that this is the picture. This wave is going to be pushing towards your tower, whether it hits your tower or it's very close to. This is the picture you need to be able to envision 20 seconds ago. So whenever you see a wave crash like this, so I know this running out of base, and I also know that my Gromp here, if I'm going to do this, why does it even matter here? Again, it's like still in my head, I'm thinking of accelerating my movement, because let's just say that nothing happens. Let's just say actually that the Jinx recalls for whatever reason. Let's just say she recalls and I knew this. Going to Gromp, it's probably okay because I get rid of it and I can always come back down. But what does it really achieve? Like, I'm not doing walls after because they're not going to spawn. And like I said before, the Jinx is going to be pushing towards my bot side, and I am at a base pretty fed here. Even though that was a little bit awkward and I am close to dying here, the point I'm making is that this movement is perfect, right? Like just being here. That's the point of this. So this is more macro than anything. Don't worry too much about the micro. And I've already stuffed up like twice. So I said here that Zac's recalling after grubs. I'm pretty sure he did grubs and then he did the top crab. But here he could definitely be running bot still, right? The general idea is right. He's going to do that top crab after the grubs. He's going to base and he could be bot lane. So again, you're just making sure, just in case he is there. So you've got to track the enemy jungler the whole game, right? Oh my god, he's at grubs. But in 10 seconds, he could be bot lane very quickly. Okay, nice, huge. Why do you think I ping on the way to dragon here? Why would I do that? My ult's on cooldown. My bot lane doesn't have arts. Why do you think I'd ping on the way to dragon? Why not do blue and gromp? And my wolves as well would spawn here soon. Unless the Zac has done my gromp. Zac is top. Now, whenever you see this, bro, the Zac appears top here, which is very weird to me, right? And I'm going to say something here, like, during the commentary. So the reason I'm clicking bot lane anyway here, even after this, right? Okay, nice, huge. Even here when I ping on the way, is simply because in 4v4, I still think we win. And why is that? Look at the Olaf for me. This guy is fed, right? So even though I don't have my ultimate here, I want to try and force something with the Olaf who's going to have prio, maybe even into their bot side jungle, right? Something like that. I don't really like just clearing here when my Olaf is this active. If you can assess the activity of your champions, especially in comparison, obviously, to the enemy champions, you're going to be able to see opportunities where people or other junglers just don't. Lots of junglers here, because their blue buff is gold, will run there, the gold icon. Oh my god, my blue buff spawning, how great. And my top camps are probably going to respawn. My walls and gromp hopefully are still there. Woo, I'm going to sequence all my camps, which is still fine, like you're getting gold. But it's going to be slower. And trust me, when you play with good laners here, it will feel for the laners. Like, where's my jungler? Like, you know, I've just shoved mid. Like, isn't he working with me? Isn't he going to invade here? What about just forcing a dragon? I'm Olaf. I've got my ult. I'm so strong. I've got Flash Ghost, maybe. That's how they will feel playing with you when you miss things like that. And yes, it's like the hardest job in the world. You have to know everything about everyone else, but that's what it is. That's what it takes. That's what the role's always been. So there's no point complaining about it. And if you don't like it, you can obviously play another role. But that is what's going to separate, like we've talked about already, the accelerated movement, so the accelerated pathing, where you have to miss camps sometimes because there's too much action going on and you have to represent the blue team. But even here, it's the same thing. Instead of just playing jungle, you're playing for blue team, remember, or red team, whatever team you're on. So because blue team here is very strong with Kai'Sa being full HP and stuff, even though they don't have ults, she is in a very strong position. And even if Jinx has I'd still much prefer the Kai'Sa here. And because my mid laner, the Olaf, is so fed, we can easily just force something. Remember, the rest of their team, apart from Mordekaiser, isn't doing too well. So again, this is just knowing in 4v4 we win. I've got a really fed Olaf, and it's just about knowing the activity of your champions. If Olaf was 1 HP here, and he was obviously just going to shove and base, I would probably just clear my top camps, honestly, and then maybe base myself and go to drag. But because he is so active, man, you need to abuse him. Zac is top. Now, whenever you see this, bro, you know you're going to make it, mate. Or he's not going to make it, I should say. Right here, just going to ping on the way, because it looks like they're fighting, mate. So again, the reason I go around here, lots of people might just go through river, is because that stuff might be warded. And this is a better angle as well if he decides to escape. So if he tries to run back to his tier 2 here, there's a very good chance like I cut him off or kill him maybe, right? And also like I get nice vision of, you know, maybe the Zac is there, even though he's topside, but maybe their Thresh is there, something like this, and you'll hear me say this here as well. And here we just dive, right? Like Zac is top, so we just can run bot and dive. The only thing that's stopping us is Thresh, but he's mid, right? See, just like this, she kind of went a little bit early, but it's fine. Just like that. We have this, right? Like, no matter what, so I'm just going to go back to drag here. I could take his Gromp, but Gromp over drag doesn't really mean anything, especially at like 13, 14 minutes. So let's just say this was the first dragon, it's very early in the game, and his bot side was up. I'd definitely take his bot camps. This dragon we do relatively quickly, and if I'm just taking one camp here, being his Gromp, oh, it's not worth, right? Like, sometimes, like I said, you have to be able to judge whether you're playing for blue team and making a decision, or if you're playing jungle. So if I'm playing jungle here, because it's 5 minutes, and I'm never going to really do an objective as Shaco early game, I would just take his camps. But because it's 13.5 minutes, and I can easily do this dragon. I've also got 900 damage from Smite, and this is just second drag, I'm pretty sure, right? So it's very squishy. So if I take his Gromp, what does that mean for the outcome of the game? Not much. If I take this dragon, though, it means something at this stage in the game, because obviously the stats mean more as the game progresses and all that, and it's easier for me to take, right? Now, in this position here, when... yes, my champions are still fed, so if you look at the activity, look above the minimap for me. So activity is really related to above the minimap, guys. If you see that your champions have ults and they're full HP and stuff, the activity is as high as it can ever be, right? Especially when they're running out of base, or have just ran out of base because they've just spent gold. So it's all of those details that you're trying to evaluate. And when you get to the conclusion that, you know, your teammates are active and they're in a position to fight, and we definitely win, you need to know all those things, you should be looking to force stuff. Unfortunately here, though, I don't have my ult. So it's kind of a little bit interesting if I just go mid and force something. Also, they know I just did dragon. So another little concept, I think I can call it a concept without confusing people, is that when you do a dragon or like, you know, grubs or something, or you just show on the minimap, it is literally showing. Like, you're just telling everyone, hey guys, here I am. So if the Thresh here doesn't lantern the Jinx when I run in, he's trolling, right? So in my head here, as soon as I do the dragon, I'm like, wow, that Thresh is going to kind of have a brain, and he's going to run off and just lantern the Jinx out. So the likelihood of me getting a kill mid, even though my champs are super active, I think it's so low. And as far as me running into their top side, it's like 20 seconds away. I'm probably going to run through Thresh's vision as well. They'll all know about it. I don't have my ult, and I think it's a little bit risky, right? So because of all those things, now I've decided, look, even though my champs are super active here, I don't have my ult. They know exactly where I am. I kind of am on a base as well. Like if I just clear red buff and then Krugs, I get a BF sword, which is kind of nice. So let's listen to what I say. Olaf here is active too, so again, I could farm Krugs here. I actually will. The only reason I will is because like it doesn't really use up that much time. So if I do Krugs like this, it doesn't use too much time, you know, like maybe that's 10 seconds. But at least I get like a decent XP from the camp, and even though I still would have had BS sword before, I don't think anything changes on the map. It's not like, I don't know, they're on Baron. Or that's spawning in 30 seconds. That is something like I would recall for. So what I've just said there is that me doing Krugs, it is an extension, right? Like I am kind of overextending. Why? Because I'm overextending. Well, because my champions are active. So if I can force a Baron straight away, I should. But I don't have ult, remember. So me doing Krugs, again, it just doesn't change anything. And if I want to communicate to my team here, look, this is why I'm doing this, I don't have my R, then I need to do that as well so they understand, right? Or hopefully understand. Never do your camps here. So here when I see him running down like this, if he was to still run down, I'd box here, right? I think I can quickly do blue buff, give it to team as well. Same thing here. I don't have my ultimate, so I can't really tank the Baron, and I'm not going to have anything to dodge a Zac, E, Yasuo combos, all that stuff, right? If I had my ultimate here, I'm 100% just hitting Baron straight away. But because I don't have it, it's a little bit difficult. Now, if you're playing another champion, if you're playing someone a little bit tankier or bruiserier, then like Lee Sin or something, Xin Zhao, stuff like that, you could probably easily just hit Baron here and just know you're going to get it. It's just a Shaco thing. Like, I'm just so squishy without it. And you can be another jungler here without your R. Maybe something like an Echo or an Evelyn, right? Yasuo's bot. And here I'll probably just wait for Olaf to, I could try to like nuke Jinx mid, but I don't really want to make a play without ult here. Same thing, right? I could maybe nuke Jinx mid, but it's just a maybe. It's just a maybe. And without my ultimate, I'm just not going to do it, right? It's too risky for me. So just clear these. Now I'll move up, right? So if I do walls here, I feel like it's slow. And Zac is bot, by the way. So this should be just like a free Baron, yeah? So I could have hit my walls there. So let's just listen. Let's hear what I have to say. Your champions are on like the same line. I'm just going to hit this. I don't know why I'm at. So I just said there, whenever your champions are on the same line. So if I go back here, can you see how my Olaf is in like an advanced position here? The Kai'Sa as well is on this line. So they're actually beyond Baron. It's not like they're here. They're actually beyond it, which means they've probably cleared a wave and they can easily just like, you know, filter through and into the topside jungle here. So if I'm to hit walls here, when my champions are this active, again, in an ideal world, I would just do this, right, into this, but I've got to accelerate my movement here because the activity on the minimap of my champions in comparison to the enemy champions. And I'll be slower to Baron. I'd much rather get Baron ASAP rather than do walls. So I'd rather do Baron ASAP than get walls. What do walls mean there? They're still going to be there as well, but Baron might not be. If I do walls, it adds 10 seconds. Maybe that's 10 seconds for the Zac to move over here. So that was that video, guys. Hopefully this was useful and you really enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like down below. I will do a lot more of these videos. Obviously, hit the subscribe button. If you want one-on-one coaching, I'll help you climb tiers. I don't care what elo you are and stuff. I've coached rank 1 EU West, and God knows how many people to challenger and tier climbs, all that stuff. So if you want the one-on-one coaching, there's a bunch of packages on my website. Patreon as well. The raw files for these videos will be on Patreon. So if you want to check out that and subscribe and whatever, there's a bunch of tiers there as well. Subscribe, show your dad. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy. Don't be shibay.